Hi everybody! Welcome to Scrapcraft and Stitchery. Today, my name is Christina and I'm ready to play around in my junk journal. I am going to do a little bit of just light creative play today because it feels good and that's what I want to do. So I'm going to work in my my modern collage junk journal, which is kind of just a playground for doing whatever I want. And I have really been playing around with these fussy cutout collage images. So I am going to stay true to the name of this journal, which is, I don't know, it's a suggestion. Everything around here is a suggestion. But I wanted to do, this is my visual journal where I do a lot of writing and recording. And these journals kind of talk to each other and influence each other. But I saw a friend of mine, Mama Juju at Crafted on the Back 40. I'll link her actually in the description below. But one day she does a lot of lives and she was doing some collage. Also, her friend Beth has some beautiful collage books available on her Ko-fi shop. I will also link her channel if you want to check those things out. But I'm just going to use some magazine pages. But this is where the inspiration for this came from. And I'm doing these things and they're great and I love them. So last I was in here, I made these background pages for this journal. So this journal is, again, if you've been following me, made out of printer paper, just some reclaimed printer paper that would have been in the recycling bin, but I have saved it. And so I have all of these background pages where I've made a start of doing this, and I have all of these magazine pages, but a few of these things I've already fussy cut out some images from these magazines, like this cat. This is in two parts because I wanted to save the whole cat. I don't know what I'm going to do about this, but anyway, he's all broken up at the end. That might work. I might be able to piece him back together. Isn't he cute? Look at that. Anyway, so the idea is I have these backgrounds and I have these images to use as a focal point, and I want to add a little bit more background. Look at that. Isn't that just gorgeous? Anyway, I'm probably going to stick to stuff today that is already fussy cut out. Anyway, I'm going to play. I am going to fill in some of this background before I put this down, and then maybe I'll kind of help to make it go in a little bit more. But I really just love the idea of having these crazy backgrounds and then collaging something completely unrelated over the top of it. I just think that looks absolutely wild and wonderful, and how much do we love this. I do feel like we need to save this poor cat's tail. That's what I think. Anyway, that's what I'm doing today. So I'm gonna start with something like this. And see, look at how fun that is. Look at how fun that is. Just to stick this on top of something like that and make it pop right out. Okay. What do we want to put on here? I want to put some black, either stamping or stenciling, and I think I'm going to go with stenciling and add some layers to this. So I'm just going to grab some back paint and some stencils that I think will be fun, and kind of add some layers and layers and layers to this until I feel like it's what it is. I love working with these backgrounds. So in the interest of maybe, possibly, I'm not ready to make a huge mess this morning, and I kind of want just something fast and easy. So I am going to use a stencil. This is a stencil I found. It's from Stabilo-All products. And I'm just going to stencil some of these fun shapes onto here, kind of at random, and see how that goes first. Just, I don't know, maybe that's not going to be enough. Maybe that's not really what I'm looking for, you know, but I might want to get some black paint out if this isn't going to be what I want. But maybe it'll be fine. The ink is a little bit easier for me this morning. And actually, you know what? This will work better. Possibly. Do we love that? Yes. I put this very, very uniformly on here, right? I could have turned my stencil. I could have done a lot of things. And I didn't. So we've added some stenciling. And what else can we add? We can add some other mark making tools. I might grab my paint and add a little bit of acrylic white paint to this. Just to kind of keep adding and adding and adding until we find the right amount. I want to do, I think right now, some writing with something. Oh, let's get my white POSCA pen. So we have all these great options for adding marks and adding with the POSCA pens. What do we want to say? Anything of note? Sometimes I like to just do random scribbling. Do we want to use white or black? This is a question. Or blue. Blue would look really good on this page. We can go ahead and add some blue. Since we already have this blue, we can add some of this blue, and I think that would be very nice. And I have a way of kind of scribbling. I could write something actually. I'm just doing some big scribbling. There you go. I have written a little bit of a poem in here. Just kind of like, okay. So I really like that. And now, I don't know. How much do we want to do? This is still going to be probably a little bit flat for me because I'm used to like adding a lot of texture. And so I am going to have to find balance in my own life here and saying, you know, what is and what is not enough. I might go ahead and put this down right now and say that that's like really enough color and vibrancy to make this stand out. And then once I get that done, then I can come back in and kind of put a little highlighting around our focal point. Which is the cat. Where do we want to put this guy? I mean, for one, we could put him back in the center. This is where he kind of started out and why he's in two pieces. So I could do that. His cute little ear, I think, is going to get... I think that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to center this right there. I'll come back in and do something about these edges, which I'm not going to be like super keen on, but I think is what I might do is just kind of blend everything in and to call this kind of a simple page. And it is going to wind up being probably a fairly simple page, but there is that. There is that. You could do something really crazy and just leave this like that. I'm going to glue this down with gloss, medium, and varnish today. And I am going to kind of just cover this whole page with this because it's going to give it like a separate finish. And this will seal these, let's see. What did we use to make this background? Since we only just did this, I did this like literally 2 days ago. So whatever I used, I'm feeling like the Distress inks and the pink is probably a Distress Oxide. If I get this wet, that might actually run a little bit, which is okay. Now I was going to overlap this ever so slightly. Maybe I should rethink that since I'm going to be putting this not where I thought, on the edge, but on the middle. Just kind of a thing about, you know, whether or not this book is going to be able to actually close eventually. If you pack too many things directly into the center of it, that's okay. I'm going to lose a little bit of this really super cute curl tail. You know what, I guess that's just going to be the way that it goes. I actually thought about putting this in my visual journal, which is just a little bit bigger, to keep a little bit more of this cutie. Okay, so like I said, this varnish is going to kind of change the finish on this page where it's present, so I want to just make sure that it's present everywhere at this stage, and I'll kind of seal in those inks that might not be super permanent underneath. This is very much kind of, you could do this with Mod Podge, or just Elmer's glue would also work. If you don't have this, you can make do with what you do have, or you could just use your glue stick and stick this down, but I'm using this today because I have it and I am playing with what I have. You can certainly use whatever it is that you have too, and this is gonna work. Ooh, got a hair in there. Okay, pick that out. And I mean, one of the reasons to use a glue stick for this is actually because my papers are, this is just copy paper and this is magazine page, and it is a little wrinkly. I love this. That is exactly what I wanted, was this like juxtaposition of this bright, this like kind of jungle cat on this just super bright urban-y paper. I think is just really kind of exciting for me right now. Okay, let me clean out my brush, and I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna use my Stabilo-All pencil, I think, and I have to decide if I want to like kind of use white or black, and I'm gonna go around the cat, and then I'm gonna also go around the edges of this page, and white might be the way to go with this. We'll see. I mean, black will look good too. We already have black incorporated and we have some white, and I think we could really go in either direction. White is a little more difficult because my pencil is probably not going to work, so I'm probably going to have to pull out some paint, or some white gesso would also, I think, work if it's watered down. Let's get that guy down. Let's get this stuck down. And just kind of make him look like he lives there. And then I think I'm gonna call this done. This is not super, like, I mean, I could have done a lot more collaging on this and a lot more details around the edges, but I think I'm just gonna I'm in the mood to just play and let things be in a very simple kind of a way right now. And I went too far in the other direction and now I'm swinging back. So I went too far in the direction of making things super complicated, and that's fine because that's where things went. But now I'm ready to go, oh, I don't want things to be super complicated. I want to step back. I want to make things a little more simple. So that's today. Today I'm being simple and just doing the base and kind of seeing where things go from there. So what I have decided is to go with white to kind of knock back the colors a little bit. I'm just going to go around the cat and around the edges of this page to kind of blend this in and see how that goes. So I have a little bit of white paint. This is Dilutions paint and it's white linen and a wet brush. I'm just going to water this paint down. I don't want to like make this too white. I just kind of want to give it a little bit of haze to kind of push it back in there. I can always come back and put a little bit of black around this again to give it a little more highlight, and that might work. But white gesso would also work for this, and it would give it a little bit of texture because gesso would be a little bit grainy and paint's gonna be a little bit smooth. But that's kind of how I decided to approach this. The other option would be just to go back in with my like Stabilo-All and make this kind of a very and then I could come back in and do a little bit of doodling again on top of this, and see, I've watered this down. I want this to kind of I want to have those lines. I need to dry this out a little bit more so I can blend it in, because I don't want to cover it all up. I'm just kind of really looking to blend it in. Blend it so it's not as stark. That's better. Watered down and then dried out a little bit. You can see where this is already kind of around this edge naturally. Didn't get as much paint and whatnot on it. And I'm just gonna work this paint in. I have some time because it is fairly wet, and this is a very slick surface now that I have created. Is it enough? I say no. This is, now I've gone pretty much just into the straight paint. Straight paint to kind of really just knock this back, and we'll see where we're at then. This is really kind of a, could be a finishing, it could be a middle of the project kind of a thing. I might add a little more black mark making around this. Don't be afraid. This is a safe place to just play around and see what happens. Here's what we want. We want to kind of just play around here and see what kind of creative fun we can have with this. And I do think I'm going to go back in with my Stabilo pencil and do a black highlight as well after I'm done here, adding as much white as I feel like I want to do. Okay, so I'm gonna grab the Stabilo-All pencil. And just add some black highlights. And the cool thing about this is it's water soluble, so I am gonna be able to just go around this very lightly around. You don't have to be super exact. And then come back and hit it with a little bit of water and it's gonna bloom out. But the cool thing is if you just wanted to do this and leave it, you could absolutely do that as well. And this will allow this to give it just a little bit. And then I think I'm gonna go back in and maybe use that black or the blue maybe again and add just a few more little kind of marks and some fun things. And then I'm going to really kind of call this page done. And simple and easy little bit of collage with one focal point, a lot of bright colors here. I'm going to add a little bit of this to the border around and just kind of get this cat a little bit of working it into the page so it looks like it was always there. The other thing, you could just leave this I think there's still a lot of like paint left in this brush. I can get a clean brush. I'm gonna grab a clean brush, maybe a smaller brush. It's Grim. Grim wants to hang out with the cats. Paint is acting a little bit weird because it's still wet, so it's not stuck to the page permanently yet. So I'm winding up with a lot of gray and a lot of mixing that I wouldn't necessarily have had I let all this white paint dry. I did not put this too much into the I can always add more if I don't like the gray. I can add more black after I've given this a chance to dry a bit more. That will make that look very shadowed, I think, which is good. That should be a very shadowy spot. some of those brush marks a little bit. Blending it in. Blending, blending, blending. So my brush gets a little bit drier. It's doing a much better job of blending this, so it looks less streaky. And some of this is still quite wet. There you go. Now I'm getting more kind of the effect that I want here, as I have picked up a little bit of water from the page, but it's not as much as was on this to begin with. And that's kind of helping me make this more of an outline than of a blended in bit. I'm just really in the mood to do a little bit of really simple, creative stuff, not worry about too much overcomplicating things, because I have been really overthinking things. Well, maybe not overthinking. I've had some like kind of, I've been doing some work and it's been kind of a little bit thought-provoking and building a lot of meaning into my journals, which is great and all, but here, I mean, I'm just playing. This isn't really meant to tell the grander story. This is really just kind of playing with my things and making some page and playing with color is really all I'm trying to get out of this. And it just feels really good to be in this space and do that. Get back to the basics. Why am I really doing this? Just for fun. And oh, that is starting to look really, really good. That's what happens with this. You just keep adding layers and layers and keep working it in, and it just starts to it really all just kind of starts to come together. I am loving it. I love this pink right here. This pink right here looks great. And there's a lot of like little details in this already that just look fantastic and neat. Okay, I am going to cut off this guy's tail because it is unfortunately kind of hanging over, and the top of your head is about to come off. I thought about leaving that, and I frequently do, and his ear is too cute, but today I'm in the mood to keep everything in bounds. I don't know, while I'm doing my creative play and talking about that. There we go. That is looking pretty good by itself. I did think I might go back and add a few things to this. I think I might just come over the top of this and add some black mark making. Black or blue? What would you do? I could add blue. I can add black. Let's just go black. I think I'm just gonna add a few little mark making bits, as I said. I'm gonna grab this smaller brush to do this, and I just kind of want to do some marks, I think, on this page, and then I'm gonna let it dry. Fun thing to do is to make these marks with the black, and then you can come back in when it's really dry and kind of highlight them a little bit with maybe some maybe with the white POSCA marker. Once these are dry, and I'm just going to leave them. They might come back in. These are a little streaky. One of the things I really like about working on camera, when I do the video editing, I sometimes see things that I can go back and kind of finish up with things. And so that's kind of a thing, like just walking away and saying, maybe I'm done, but leaving it open to maybe a suggestion of, oh, I could add this. And so I might, once this is dry, decide that I really kind of would like to add a little bit of white highlighting around these things, and I think that that could really add to this page. And sometimes I don't see those things until I'm like back at the computer looking at this again and trying to finish up my videos, honestly. And there's different ways you can get to that kind of a space, is by just walking away, going and having some lunch and coming back. It also gives time for your paint to dry and whatnot. I can see from right now that yes, that maybe I might want to add a little bit more to these. I might. I actually think instead of that, I want to add some other lines using a credit card so it makes nice thin lines. This is just kind of a credit card. It's a fake credit card that they sent and then add to be like, hey, come and do this. This is kind of a cool way to make marks. I think this will be fun. Over the top of these. And then you can go back into the white and add, I like to just kind of do this and add white over the top of the black, and it makes a really cool layered effect. And just keep layering things. It usually kind of makes this really cool effect. Now I think is the time to just let the play start to happen, where, you know, I can go back in. I could add some white paint to this. I don't want to make it turn gray like I did before. I also think adding some pink over the top of this could be really, really cool. Once this dries It's been a beautiful day of just simple creativity here going on, finishing this page. Next week I might go and do some journal covers. I have a couple of things built up. I've been doing a lot of pages in my journals to fill them up, which is kind of one of the steps. But I think I'm about ready to start just really going in and I have to build a cover for my visual journal because I haven't done that yet. So I kind of just left it partially covered because I was so excited to just start filling it up, and I left it, and I've started to get some ideas for what I want to do with the cover. Possibly just leaving it very neutral and blank. I thought about just covering it with some brown paper. We'll see, or some white paper. Since I'm used to seeing it with a white cover, that I can then add either artwork to later, or stickers, or collage it as it goes along. I don't know if that's what I'm going to do. Maybe I'll make a master board and cover that. Not really sure. But I might work on that next week. Also, I have this other stack of this really old art journal, and I made signatures and filled the signatures, and I need to go back, and these are things that I was working on like 10 years ago, and I don't look at that as much as I possibly could, and now I'm kind of in the mood where I could, let's get some of these dots just kind of escaping to around randomly here. Not too many, just a few. I am gonna leave this page and call it done, and I really like it. I love this sassy cat who has a lot to say. Kind of our life at Scrapcraft and Stitchery, living with 4 cats, is, you know, we have these sassy cats, and I guess this is the meaning of this page, is they're even making it into the journals now, and that is where I'm gonna leave this page. I really love it, and I'm so happy that you came. Check out the links below. I'm gonna link you to Mama Juju, who is super friendly and fun to watch. She does a live at, I want to say, around 10 o'clock pretty much every night, and that's 10 o'clock Central Standard Time in the US, and she's pretty fabulous and fun, and you should check out her lives. And her friend, I think it's Beth Schuler, I will leave a link, has on her Ko-fi shop a whole bunch of collage books that you can buy from her that are reasonably priced, and you should check that out if you're interested and want to find some collage images. These collage images, I just pulled this out of a National Geographic, and this is a South American cat they just discovered. So there's that. Check those out. There are links in my Amazon shop below where you can find POSCA markers and other things that I have used today and in other videos. I appreciate it. I am an Amazon associate, and I get a small percentage of purchases that you make when you follow those links, so I greatly appreciate that if you want to support my channel and you're shopping at Amazon anyway. Go ahead and check those things out. And thank you for joining me today at Scrapcraft and Stitchery. I hope you enjoyed this. I am super, super thrilled about how this has come out. I just think it is fun and easy, and that is kind of the meaning that I am building into this journal. This particular journal is just for doing some fun, easy artwork for inspiration, and I hope you enjoyed this here today. I know I did. Thank you for spending your time with me. Please subscribe if you found yourself here and you've watched to the end. I really am trying to build my channel, and it is so exciting for me to get new subscribers, and thank you so much for watching. And I will see you soon. Until then, stitch scrappily and scrap happily. And I really wish you joy in your journals and whatever creative things you're getting up to. I just love the time that I get to spend doing a little bit of creative work. It is so rewarding, and I get so much out of it. And keep going is all I can say. And keep creating, and let it be fun, and let it be light, and just have a little bit of fun with it every single day, or every week, or whenever you can, because it's just so good for the soul. I'll see you next time. Bye.